evening. All right.
Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, man, you?
Yeah.
It's very good.
Got my new M249 this week. It's very exciting.
That's a beautiful looking piece of kit, mate.
Hi, Nick.
I'm on the black stuff tonight because I'm working. So I'm only on the black stuff.
The
evening,
orange.
Nick. It's a sample.
I had the rest of the pint earlier. I've been drinking it.
Sean, no.
Hi, Sean.
Oh dear. Yeah, it's not the end of my week yet. I've got to work tonight. And then I'm off tomorrow. Then I'm back in Sunday. Make it a 249. Evening, James. Evening, Wayno.
It's an S&T, Nick. So it's actually technically a featherweight one. So I guess it's slightly cheating in terms of it only weighs less than 4 kilos. I'm planning to swap out a few of the parts on it. So, for example, the bipod, it's all sort of compatible with A&K products. So I've swapped the bipod out for a proper full metal A&K one. I've got A&K magazines on it now instead of the sort of M4 style mag that runs with it. And yeah, exactly. The lighter, the better. I just wanted something that I could run around with and kind of like, you know, I'm not the sportiest of people. I don't know if you might
the other end of the scale.
Yours weighs an absolute ton. So.
Oh, it's heavy as hell. My one. Not gonna lie. Oh, there's no one there. It's just the roof.
Paul's going to be talking to us tonight for the medium of
no one there.
Hey!
Oh, that was scary. It's like a tarantula going across the screen. What was that?
I think that was Paul's hands, wasn't it? Are you a little bit behind, Lance? I feel there's a bit of a lag. Paul's now on the screen.
Yeah, no, I think it's my internet, mate. Once again, BT super fast fiber 900 Halo 3 is excelling itself.
Hi, Paul. How's things?
You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Lars has gone completely now.
Lars has gone.
So, I mean, obviously, you've dressed up tonight for the episode, or is this just your normal evening wear now?
The other half asked for a bit of dressing up this evening, so who might say no?
See, I don't think there's a way to make that hat look flattering.
It is quite flat.
It's very flat.
You can beret it. You can go French.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a French t-shirt on. Do you know, the thing is, right? You know, some things just really are only suited for the airsoft field.
Yeah.
Because you can get away with it. I think I've just realised that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't answer the door to the postman.
Depends what he's delivering. I'm going to step to the side for 2 seconds and slip into something a little bit more Friday nightish.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Paul, you're really quiet. I'll turn him up. Hang on. I can do that from here. That should hopefully be better. Lance might be coming back. He says he can't even hear us. So not much point in being on the on this episode. Oh, no, here he comes. Here he comes. You there?
Am I back?
Hey.
Hello.
Hello, back.
You just missed Paul do a quick change.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I just realised
there is band dress on.
Short of multicam and like morale with my usual kit and all that, certain things are only really suited for the airsoft field.
No, couldn't get away with it on a dog walk then.
I did whack me my little outfit on and then realised that you know, even with my dashing good looks and everything that comes with being this, you know, Adonis that I am, there ain't no way of making this make you look good.
Have you tried? So I bought one of these as well, just for I thought they were quite cool to have. Have you tried rolling it down and then putting it on your head?
What, all the way down?
Yeah, because that looks proper weird.
I don't know what that
is. That's the tightening band, so you can wrap that around to basically make it tighter or looser.
Fucking omelette.
Can we put it off to a jaunty angle?
Birdie, birdie, flirty, birdie, birdie, birdie. realised that
So-
4 days
Fair
before
play.
the now I've screwed me hat up.
Yeah. It should. I don't know if it was tight in your head before. Without that on there, it'd be a bit looser.
Do you know what? And I like it.
That
loose.
better?
Yeah. I
Well,
like
that's the
that.
quote of
It's a
the
strong look,
evening.
mate.
Paul likes it
I'm not
loose.
gonna lie. Just
I don't even know how you're meant to wear these bastard things. Do you know what I mean?
not a clue, mate. Google.
It's a mix between.
There must be a
Middle
YouTube
Eastern-
tutorial or something about. So it looks like a pancake. I thought that. Do you know what? When he put his head down, it looked like a well-grilled pancake, didn't it? On the very top.
Do you know what I like about it? It's that sort of rustic Middle Eastern look with a 500 quid pair of Ray-Ban glasses on. It just doesn't really go. If you like, yeah,
Can't go wrong with it, mate. I'm telling you.
taking your donkey out to the field, but you follow it in like a 21 plate Merc.
Yeah.
Mate, I tell you what, he's baking with that hat on. But I do like this because now look, I get quite a little jaunty scarf with it as well.
Oh yeah, look at
very
a little necktie, a neckerchief.
Look at that.
I wonder if
So you
it'll
can
when you
go
get a
as
bit of
a
breeze, will you
part
get a bit of
Cockney.
flap?
Part Cockney, part
Bit Dexter's Midnight Runners. Bit Come On Eileen.
Yeah, just
But that's another conversation for
about to say
Friday
that.
night. Ah.
just need some lemon and sugar for that pancake.
Yeah, you'd eat it. wouldn't
Funnily
you,
enough,
Andy?
that's Paul's
nothing-
code name for the upcoming event.
Pancake, is it?
No, lemon and sugar.
Pancake has been flipped.
to step up
All
from
right,
being
I was going to be
fake.
I've got nothing to hand, no props for next weekend. It's all been packed away.
Yeah, I've got something
I've
in
got,
here.
I literally have nothing to hand.
Here we go. Look, I've got something right here for you. Fuck you. Taking the piss out of me.
Oh, I have one of them. I've got two of them.
Let me program this thing to remote det something in your air loft.
Just
You're
hit
not
it.
in there, are you? You're in the woods already.
That would be epic.
That's
if
it, I'm
he
already here,
genuinely
mate.
had something he just let off behind Lance.
It's like-
Just
it's
my
like
green screen
fidget one of his
boom,
batteries.
just swallowed me.
We've got this one programmed into. Oh, look at that.
Or was he giving away some mint already? That's already happened once this week.
Yeah. Bit of output. I've got no idea with these things still.
So the point of this week's episode, for those watching, is we are obviously on the event prep build up for the Apocalypse MilSim, which will be next Friday. We are going to have to slightly amend next week's episode date. We haven't had a chat yet between the three of us about when we're going to do that, so we'll let you know, possibly with the marketing, or maybe we can decide now. Is everyone okay for Wednesday?
I have to play it by ear. Give it a go because I've got away for the 3 days and got all my gear to still sort. So it just depends how everything falls. If not, I'll do a piece where I sort my gear out and then do a bit in the for the Facebook page or for the Insta page or something like that if I can't make it.
Yeah, nice.
I'm trying to
Either I'm
figure
easy,
out
whatever.
how I can fit
Okay.
everything that
So
needs to fit in a TARDIS into something that's not a TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Jump
next
up and
week's
down
episode
a
will
bit
be on
wider.
Wednesday. But yeah, so we've got a MilSim coming up. Lance will be playing as Bluefor. Paul will be
Hello.
playing as Opfor. I unfortunately can't make the
Yeah.
event due
He's
to an
Luxembourg.
NCT class on breastfeeding on the Saturday that I'm going to be attending, where I get to learn all about that. So yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about sort of the various methods of preparing for an event, the sort of different bits of kit that you might take, anything sort of special that you've bought for the events and stuff. And then the kind of general, I mean, I think we've never really kind of covered the kind of mix of Bluefor and Opfor. So I think we're going to sort of maybe talk a little bit about that as well. Sort of different mission
definitely.
styles and stuff. Having played Bluefor a lot myself, you know, tends to be a lot more mission focused and stuff. Paul, I think you've mostly been Opfor, if that's right. So obviously you've covered a lot more of the civilian-y type stuff as well.
So
Oh, there you go.
COVID, I wrote out a number of £50 checks for Airsoft kit because nothing costs greater than 50 quid. And because I
Absolutely.
think we were expecting to do a Longmore event, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, we're still
So
waiting
then
on that, aren't we? Really?
I've got the multicam claw gear top and bottoms. Got a multicam Warrior Recon plate carrier. I got a multicam Warrior Pegasus rucksack. All still in the loft with the labels on it because obviously COVID kicked
Waiting to
in.
get dirty.
Waiting to
I know,
get there.
yeah, because obviously, because we did pay. Correct me if I'm wrong. We did pay for an event, didn't we? But it's been moved to whenever the next date is available.
Something
The
like
Longmore
that.
one got
Right, saying that.
refunded.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think
did it? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Back on it, but
Right.
yeah, so that
I can't
really the
remember. I'm trying to
idea
keep up with
around
them.
doing that was obviously on the Longmore events for an Opfor. The sort of, I'll use the word loose. So some of the Gucci gear that we've invested in isn't allowed on the Opfor roll. Is one reason why I fancied Bluefor, but then also to get the not the painful routines, but the sort of the bit where you challenge yourself, where you're sat there for periods of time and you've got to challenge yourself mentally to stay focused. Whereas with Opfor, it's kind of you nip out, you fuck shit up for a little bit, you go back, and do you know what I mean? There's no real.
You never played with us then.
It's sort of it's more hard and fast with Opfor. It's hard and fast, isn't it? Like in and out, smash and grab sort of type stuff, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can't.
You're running around
stuff, and then I sort of head out and do bits and bobs, as you know, with Mr. Marden and that, and it was like, I tell you what we do is we'll get ourselves up then, and we'll have a go on Bluefor. But if we're at Apocalypse, because it's like the Misfits and this, that, and the other, we'll kind of stay with where we are on Opfor on that one. But then when we go to Longmore, or if we go and choose somewhere else, so we did like a Sterling event or something like that, and you all come along, we went to wherever it is, Copill Down or something, we do it as a Bluefor team. So we've got the kit. If we really, we want to do it, align ourselves with you guys, affiliate to the Punishers, and just get involved and get stuck in on that, and then just understand the bits around sitting in a fob observing, but having to do it for a good few hours, and being,
defo.
Just that sort of discipline side of it, because you don't.
Yeah, it's a bit more regimented, isn't it, from a Bluefor point of view? Do you know what I mean? With the taskings, you know what I mean, your call signs, your comms. I'm saying it's not regimented with Opfor. I wouldn't know because I'm not done Opfor before. Apart from PMC, I can't really class that as Opfor, can you?
No, I mean the first time we did it at Longmore, that was when I went and I had Sam Jarrett, Dennis, Sean, Steve, and myself, and it was quite regimented in the sense that there was enough of us that we made up Echo team, and then there was like all Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo, similar sort of what you'd probably expect for Bluefor. You all had your radio issue, so he's kind of all given one of these, and Sam Jarrett had ours. And then the zero for Opfor would be, right, I want you to head off over here, or I want you to get in the mortar, go to the main base at Longmore, not the one that you stayed in, like the Special Forces training base type bit where they lay up all the corrugated ground. The actual main,
down in the far corner.
Yeah. So it's more the main base with the shop and all that, where that usually is at.
Yeah.
So kind of, and you go, right, I want you to go and stick a mortar in there, only the one, fire one in, and then just sort of duck off, just just liven it up for them a little bit, and then wait for the QRF, see how long it takes the QRF to come out, how many they deploy on the QRF, take the numbers, feed the numbers back, but don't engage, just literally, firing. And so it was a lot of that, which was really good.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it was like, right, we're arranging a riot, that sort of stuff. Whereas obviously for yours, it's like, you've got, I want you to go out, you're going to go on a patrol through around the back of the railway line, through the village, this, that, and the other. And then when you come back, you're in one of the things and you're looking out for a couple of hours, making sure nothing's going off. So it's just kind of really give it a bit of a mix. And then obviously we could use our toys if we're on the Bluefor at Longmore. So for the Opfor, you can't use anything head mounted. The first time we was allowed to use a hand mounted night vision device if we had one, but you couldn't have weapons mounted thermal, you couldn't have like skull cap mounted nods or anything like that, because you're playing really rebellious
civvy pop, isn't you?
People. So
yeah, no, that's a fair one. And that call comes down to when we spoke about like PID and targets and that, and it's why some events are very strict on like with headwear and things like that. And it's like, well, why can't I wear this? So, well, because if you wear that and they're wearing that, if you're trying to PID a target and you're wearing exactly the same thing as them, it's going to be a nightmare. You're going to end up having blue on blues all day long. People just are getting getting pissed off.
You might as well wear armbands at that point.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why there is strict code for what size wearing what, and there is good reason for it. It's not just to be picky. One, it's just so you can tell each other apart for a start. Not, some camos are relatively similar. You have got to look at the target and make sure. But when it comes to like headwear and things like that, yeah, that's a major. You can't let everyone just run around with boonies on all day. It'd be a nightmare, absolute nightmare.
Like solid colours versus some form of camo, isn't it? So like Apocalypse, we can go wearing this sort of stuff, which people are going to go in. Other people have gone, totally out there and got other kit.
Yeah.
But this here, I mean, to be fair, for an event, little under 15 quid from eBay.
Perfect, mate, isn't it?
And then obviously,
and it's a little investment. Then that opens up a lot of other events for you, doesn't it? If you ever choose to do it again, you think, well, I've already got a kit for that.
I've got woodland gear. You've got your, you can wear your multi-cam. You can wear your desert cam. All of that sort of stuff is available to you, so it's kind of clear. But like exactly as you say, when it kicks in and it's a bit dusk, if we're all running around with lids on, ain't going to work, is it? So
no, exactly, mate, exactly that. So no, it's a fair one.
Have you got are there weapon restrictions on this one? Like, so for
this
example,
event,
Op4 can only use certain types, or I mean, even Bluefor. I know there's some events where Bluefor, for example, can't run around with big gold AK-47s and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the event that's coming up, I mean, with it being Bluefor against an insurgency sort of thing, I think it's sort of there in black and white, really. I mean, what you'd expect people to use. Do you know what I mean? No one's going to be turning up with a Sten gun or a blooming, do you know what I mean, dressed in World War II era kit. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be Bluefor. You're in NATO kit. You're using current weapon systems.
Make a note of that. No.
Well, to be fair, with the insurgency type role, I mean, there's a lot of sort of ex-Russian weapons.
Yeah,
sort of old school.
Again,
I mean, I think
you've got Paul there in a dish dash with his hat on, and he's got a black M4, and I'm not going to be jumping up and down about it. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a weapon system. It's black. It's no different than a black tactical AK, really, in my book. Do you know what I mean? It's the weapons that I know for a photograph. Yeah, it would be great to all have AKs with all wooden stocks and all that sort of business on it, but no one's going to make that sort of investment. You can't expect someone to make that sort of massive investment if they put potentially 1,200 quid into an M4 or something like that. It's like, well, mate, this is my main weapon system, so you know what I mean. This is what I've chosen to use. I'll go all out for the costume and the outfit you want me to wear, but I mean, I'm not going to specifically go and buy a whole new weapon system just to be that role. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't expect someone to do that unless it was a reenactment, and they had to be. And it's I don't think MilSims are reenactments. Do you know what I mean? A MilSim is an event that you're taking part in because it's fun and it's wicked to get away for the weekend, regardless of what you've got. I mean, obviously, camo rules and equipment type rules to an extent, but when it comes to a weapon system, you can't expect someone to say you can only take part as a Taliban event, if you've got an AK. Yeah, exactly that. So, but,
the way I look at it as well a little bit is that you can go, like this one, we're Taliban against like Bluefor, NATO, call yourselves what you want. Longmore, you'd sort of disgruntled villagers that are probably part funded by the Russians, again against Bluefor. So if you flick back to reality, you can't tell me that somewhere along the lines in Afghanistan or if wherever it is you like, there's not someone running around with an M4 they've picked up off a dead Marine.
If there probably well is, mate.
You get that almost
exactly that. Well, Nick's just made us that very point, mate.
So I've tried to do mine a little bit close to being Russian because I've got the Zentico gear on it, but that's about as close as it gets. But then,
that's fair enough, though, mate.
Yeah. Maruni say it was made in Japan anyway, so I don't quite know how that one works.
I was watching an article on I think it was on Afghanistan actually. So obviously this is sort of loosely based on the event that's coming up, isn't it? I mean, I know that it's not trying to sort of be too specific because I know that people kind of get a bit funny about that. But I was watching an article on Afghanistan, and I think they were running around with a proper old school World War II MG42 that they were putting on the back of a technical. So like these old school weapons are still out there. So it doesn't rule you out in my mind.
Absolutely,
from doing,
yeah.
Like, well, if you watch, bloody hell, was it Hotel Mumbai? The film from the terror attacks out there. the military, when they got called in, were almost running around with like the Enfields.
That's it. Yeah, bolt action still, weren't they? That's right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Not until they called the special forces, what they call their special forces guys in, that they come in with something that sort of fairly resembled an MP5 or something like that, you know. But the rest of them are all, you know, you're lucky if you're. It's almost like the old, you know, by rank. You know, you were lucky of a certain rank if you got given a you know, like a Thompson or something like that in World War II. If not, you had, you know, like a rifle, or you had the BAR or whatever it is. And that's kind of still how it is out there, you know. You sort of rocking it.
So with weapons, then, chaps. I mean, like what Mike just said then. I mean, would either of you two get like? I mean, obviously, in an ideal world, if you're up against like an OPFOR insurgency type esque event like we've got coming up, and you saw a guy shooting at you, who just happened to have, like I said, a black M4, would that really give you the or be, would you be pissed off about that, or would you be taking it as it is? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it is purely just a weapon system.
You, mate. Absolutely.
Because a lot of people seem to jump up and down. Oh, he should have an AK. He shouldn't have that. You shouldn't be. And it's like, well, do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I don't really like about. You know what I mean? Some people get a bit too precious about it. At the end of the day, it's not the weapon that makes the player. It's the player. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't expect anyone to go out, you know, and drop 500 quid on a new airsoft gun just to join in on an event. I think if you want to look at how we bring we always talk about you bring the new generation of young players in for skirmish, then equally, you know, as people at MilSim, we've got a responsibility to bring in the new next generation of people that play MilSim. So if I turn around and go, you know, I really, really want you to play, but sorry, pal, you know, that G&G M4 that you've got, you can't be on my side with that.
This is it, mate. Because obviously, you think if it's like you said, Paul, it's a new player. They've obviously just forked out a load of gear or a load of money for kit to actually like survive out on the ground for a MilSim. You know, your shelter system, sleep system, cook set, Bergens, waterproofs, blah blah. You know, the list goes on and on and on. For them to then have to lay out for a weapon to take part in the event because they can't get on the side that they want to get on, but they're going to have to go and get an AK, or if they've got an AK, they're going to have to go and get an M4. It's like, nah, mate, come on.
To say, you know, modern day reality, you know, people are financed by different people that are not even, you know, like you've got the Russians financing people, you've got historically us, you know, as a nation financing people, you've got the Americans that have been financing arms, so they're all out there anyway, you know. I was watching a program, Fighting ISIS or something like that, about the people that volunteer to go and fight with, like the Syrian sort of freedom fighters, if you will, against ISIS and that. And you go out there, got some have got AK-47s, you know, you've got some that have got M4s, some that have got whatever, and they're making good with what they've got to fight.
Exactly that, mate. Yeah.
And it's only to say, you know what I mean? You know, am I going to say to someone, sorry, you can't play because of this? Or they think, oh, you know, what I'm going to have to do is, because I've got to go and buy an AK, I'm going to buy something, but then that means I'm going to compromise. I can't buy the decent set of iPro that I want, or I can't buy that decent tent that's going to keep me driving.
And it's pressure, especially a new player. It's putting pressure on them that they don't really need. You know what I mean? It's going to be quite a pressurising time as it is, like going on their first event, and let alone thinking, oh Christ, now I've got to try and get hold of one of these for it. I've changed my loadout just to take part in it, but you know, which is, I don't think that's fair. You know, if you're going to get into reenactment, that's a different story. You know, you've got to be bob on when it comes to reenactment, and rightly so, because they are actually reenacting a era, a time frame, a particular battle or scenario or whatever it is. Then that's fine. But you know, it's a MilSim at the end of the day. It's not, you know what I mean? They're not that strict on the actual accuracy of what they're trying to reflect. You know what I mean? In my eyes, I think for me, the only thing I would say, and this might be a slightly unpopular opinion, is I do get a little bit put off if you're playing an event and you're fighting someone in a MilSim style event and they've got like a bright green gun or bright blue gun. Now, that's not to say that there's any problem with that. I haven't got any, because obviously everyone has to start somewhere, and I've always got some of the, you know, the non-stick camo tape. So like you roll it over. Oh, I know, yeah, it wraps to itself, doesn't it? Yeah, so I mean, someone before, I think we had someone on one of the events I was on that had a bright blue gun. Huh? Don't know. Hello, Lance?
There he is. He's still there.
Yeah, I'm still here, mate. I didn't want to say anything in case it confused everybody.
Oh, that's right.
I think my internet dropped out for a second.
I had some free. I just said to him, I said, because he was really worried about the bright blue on his rifle or whatever was showing up and like giving away the position. So we were like on patrol. So I said, "Oh, I've got the tape, and we just taped over it." Yeah, we can hear you. So that for me,
evening,
I think
Roy,
probably the
in
only
the
thing.
chat.
Oh, sorry.
You hear me, boys? Evening, Roy.
We can hear you. Good. No,
that for me,
enough,
probably the only thing I would say.
With the green and blue two tones.
Yeah, I'm not precious about it. Like if someone genuinely can't afford, it's not that they can't afford. If genuinely can't, they've got a two-tone rifle for whatever reason. That to me breaks out the immersion element of it a little bit. But that's not to say that I would have a real hang up.
I mean,
I'm not
I've
going
seen
to
it a couple
tell
of
them
times,
that they can't
and then
play.
a couple of them. No, mine, it's killing me tonight. I tell you. I am here. If you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. I stopped to let you talk because you could start talking and then you stopped again.
I think there's certain things that they put in place which I do agree with. So, you can't wear one of those freaky designed up Halloween type full face masks and things like that. There's certain things that you kind of have to keep out of it. And then there's certain things which I think exactly as you say, we've got to maintain a level of flexibility, and if the behaviours are right, then that's it for me. Do you know what I mean? If someone comes along exactly as you say, going to take their gun up a little bit or wrap some, whatever around it because it's a two-tone, but they come along, they've got a bit of a can-do attitude on them, want to get stuck in, want to get involved, then fair play, mate.
I mean, the other thing, I wouldn't expect someone with a gold AK to play Bluefor necessarily because that again is just very wrong. If that is, I know it's in my mind. I'm not hung up about it that I'm going to ever comment on it in front of anyone. If someone's, because fundamentally you're there to just have a good time, and as you say, as long as they're playing the game, we're all having a good time. It doesn't really bother me that much, but it does break that immersion for me a little bit.
It's it's like you say, if you're doing like a cartel or something like that, then the gold AK absolutely fine. It's the sort of thing that they have, to them it's like a show of wealth, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not the sort of thing that you see. Some guy in Bluefor walking out.
Well, exactly. I mean, can you imagine like you're watching the news program or whatever like that, and like the team storming the barricades or whatever. There's just some Bluefor guy just going like that with his gold AK in the air. Like, I mean, again, it's a game and stuff, but yeah.
It reminds me of that. Have you seen Jojo Rabbit?
Yes.
It's like that geezer at the end that's kind of got the makeup on and his mate's playing the music and he's got all the sort of ribbons hanging off of him. It's got to be like that.
Yeah, I love that film. I'll have to watch that again. I love the bit where they drop the RPG, whatever it is, or the Panzerfaust, or whatever, and then it flies off into the building.
It's just certain bits in it that I really do. I do love about it, and there is that bit about it. There's where he's obviously seeing it and all this sort of thing in his head. There's that sort of almost awkward campness between the two guys in charge of all the kids. The geezer that's in Game of Thrones and the other fella, and there's almost like the awkward moments there between each other, which kind of made me laugh right through to the end where he's going, "Oh, you survived, great, yeah, what are you up to?" "Oh, I'm going home now to see my mum, I think I need a cuddle."
Yeah.
It's like that. I think it's really good film, really well thought of as well,
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a proper, I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's not seen it, but there's a proper hard-hitting moment in the middle of it as well.
Yeah,
it's like
So I think weapons and stuff like that, and I do, even though sometimes when you have got the toys, I do agree with the approach that Longmore and the Legion guys have with regards to how they approach their MilSims. So you really, you're kind of villagers, so you wouldn't necessarily have thermal, you wouldn't necessarily have Gen 3 night vision. So learn to play outside of that and use white light to your advantage, use other things to your advantage rather than the toys, So, so I do, even though it's nice to have that sort of stuff and think, I've invested in it, I really want to use it. I also really do like that challenge that you get from the Legion event on Op4 that you can't use it because you've got to be able to do a bit more tradecraft rather than rely on technology.
I like one of the things I quite like about doing all the different events. So, for example, when we did the Falklands one, I appreciate we're not sort of like Falklands reenactors and stuff like that. And I know we'll hit the chat in a bit because I know Les was just saying he's doing an event in December, which is Falklands Goose Green, and they've got to dress the part. I like the challenge of having to find the little bits and just trying to create a bit more of the immersion aspect to it. So, for example, when we were DEA, we obviously all bought like DEA patches, and we got like little ID cards made up that were DEA, and we had them all in like plate carrier holders and stuff. So all of our credentials and that were all in front of us.
You are a sucker for dressing up, though, aren't you?
I do like dressing up. I do. Yeah, no, I do like that aspect. I mean, for example, this event next week, I say I can't make the event as a whole. And because obviously you potentially have to rush off at a moment's notice. So I'm still going to be there, but I'm going to be there as press. So I've got like a full press loadout, and we're going to be going around taking photos of stuff. So I should hopefully have a wealth of content for November Foxtrot by the end of next weekend. So there'll be loads of pictures coming out from that one.
So if we flick back to your Facebook photo that popped up the other day, then your wedding photo.
Yeah.
What was that outfit you was wearing there?
Okay, yeah. I'll find it quickly for you. So I went to my wedding dressed in a Napoleonic naval jacket because I thought it was cool.
Oh, I think it was, mate.
I'll find it quickly. Hang on.
The other day, and I thought, what's that? That looks well wicked.
Yeah, I got them custom. I got them custom made. It was an absolute fortune. It probably cost more. It wasn't as much as the wedding dress, to be fair, but it was more of a fraction of the wedding dress than it should have been.
Was it like a fraction of what the airsoft gun really costs versus?
Yeah. Let's just say if I was buying that and telling the wife about it, I won it in a raffle. Let's put it that way. There you go. So that's what I wore. So I went full midshipman Napoleonic naval jacket. It was myself and my brother, the best man.
That's quality.
So I do like dressing up, and I will fully admit that I like dressing up because it's just a bit of a laugh. But,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, like the whole Op4 aspect of it all, that really appeals to me because it's the the Paco, the. Well, I mean, to be fair, even if you don't wear that, because like not everyone, again, using Afghanistan as like the. I'm back. Not everyone in Afghanistan is all wearing the traditional garb, are they? So you don't have to wear all that.
And I think that's right, and that's the upside about when we did sort of the Longmore event. You're a villager, so you could nip into a charity shop and buy a right tatty looking jumper and a pair of old jeans, and that's kind of you could be like a farmer or whatever, you can do what you like. And people were doing it. They had construction workers, they had all sorts. I mean, like that one that I did last time, as much as I really enjoyed prepping for it, it was a little bit of it had its positives, but it was a bit of a downfall to my event experience with the guys that I'd gone along with as well. So that's when I did a market stall. So I was a market trader, and I got all the sweets, went to all the aisles in Sainsbury's, like the international aisle, got loads of all the sweets, found a Russian shop, got a load of those, got toys and all that. And because I was running that though, the guys that I'd gone with that were at Longmore for the first time, I didn't have that experience of really playing with them because my focus was on doing the stall. So it was it was great to do, but it was a bit bittersweet.
You basically were just a sweep shop, stall holder. Like it wasn't even just role play at that point. You are just literally selling sweets to a load of guys with guns playing around.
Get away with giving sweets away to strangers. But yeah, he's all good. He's a good laugh. Good crack.
Yeah. I will just give a little bit of a shout out just quickly to where I bought that jacket from in case anyone's interested. So it's a website called 19th Century Tailoring.
Cool. Well, what else would it be?
Well, exactly. But they do what's the product range? So they do all sorts. So you can do World War I, American Civil War, American West, the Indian Wars, Napoleonic Regency, weddings and all sorts of stuff like that. So if anyone's interested in getting a custom-made Napoleonic naval jacket, then there you go.
I must admit, it's the sort of thing I'd be quite tempted to get done to wear to work once.
Yeah,
just to turn up like, you know, sort of all regal.
I'll be honest, it was freaking wicked wearing it. I absolutely loved it. It was very hot because it was the middle of July. But yeah, it was good. It's good. I've still got it actually. I mean, this thing, I bought it outright, so I've still got them sitting in my cupboard. So maybe one Airsoft event, I might have to just rock that out.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. Just rock up as a Napoleonic guy.
Yeah. Right. Should we hit the comments just briefly? There's lots of people saying lots of things. So Sean says he uses an AK daytime and an M4 at night. Fair dues.
Yep.
Sean, is there a reason for that? Just out of interest, is it that your M4's like your go-to, and that the AK is more for a visual thing? Just out of interest, if you want to whack it in the chat. Andy said it's a hobby after all. We spend so much kit on it, ammo and smokes, then buying a weapon for each faction would end up really costly. Completely agree. Nick says Canadian Rangers still use the Lee Enfield. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you know, these weapons are still about. Andy Bob says they use rockets fired out of guttering. Explains a lot. Yeah. To be fair, I think even at some of the Legion events previously, we've had like fireworks fired at the Sangers. People just pop up and then they go and then duck down again. So that's pretty terrifying. Like,
safety left the door there.
Yeah. Andy says there should be a level of immersion, otherwise it's just a skirmish with a story. Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, a lot of the missions and that on MilSims do tend to be a little bit more story driven, perhaps.
Yep.
So it kind of it ties into that. So Terry says all we got for Octo 8 was the Kurta, Kaftan, and a Pakol. I think that worked. Yeah. So Terry and his boys were running around on the first day. I think it was kind of a lot more sort of traditional garb that everyone was in. So they weren't all dressed as rebels, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And it enabled some of the the Bluefor guys to dress up as well. There was a few little sort of secret CIA agents within that. So Wayne says you could always wear a Care Bear t-shirt. Oh, Nick says a Muslim friend of mine said to me once, "Not all of us have a beard and carry an AK." There you go.
Did he have a beard and was carrying an AK at the time, though?
Sean says got a touch on the M4 for night. Got a torch on the M4 for night. Oh, fair enough. That's fair enough. So, cool. So in terms of preparation, then, Paul, like, do you find that you prepare any differently? Sorry, my internet goes every once in a while. It just randomly cuts out. I'm hardwired and everything. I think I've got Lance's problem.
That's why.
Yeah.
Right into his.
I'm actually right next door to Lance. Who just. So do you find like you prepare any differently from what you've sort of seen?
So I come from a like my dad. He still is, but a mad fisherman since he was a kid, all the way through to now. You know, when he before he needed his hip replacement and all that sort of stuff, he was off up to Worcester fishing. He's got a lake that he bought with some of his mates and all this sort of thing. And he's always been driven by lists. So there'd be lists for everything. You know, wherever he's going anywhere, he's going on holiday, there's a list. You look on the door of his fridge, there's a list, you know, of how long each thing takes. And he's a list kind of, you know, kind of guy. And I've sort of really, I haven't got it on this one. I've got it on my iPad. But yeah, I create a list because I just know that I'll forget something. So I just break it down into, you know, what's my weapon system, and then list that down. What's my sleep system? Then list that down. What's my clothing system? List that down. Food system, list that down. Sundries, list that down. And then where all my gear's up in the loft at the minute. whenever I get time, I just go up there. I've got the Warrior X300 rucksack with rockets on the side, and I just start grabbing bits and chucking them in there. And then I come downstairs, and on the list, I put a tick next to each item, and the tick, there's a little key at the top because it's sad like that. Little key is like tick equals currently in rucksack, and then I'll try and get everything in there, bring it all down, and then that's when I'll lay it all out on the floor and then try and pack it all away. You know, but my trouble is that I never know where to draw a line of 1 is none, 2 is 1. You know, so I have to sort of look at it and think, no, I've got 5 torches. Is that a bit overkill? So, you know, and then you end up packing too much. You know, what if, or what, you know, what if that, what if, or do I need, you know, like this blooming jacket that goes down to minus whatever? Probably not, but you never know. You know, I mean, might get.
I find it's tools. It's always like, if the gun breaks, I might need that screwdriver that just undoes that little little screw.
So I've obviously the car's not too far away. It's not like Longmore where you can't go back to your car. You know, this one you can go back to our car, so there'll be some tools in there. I know Mimsy's bringing some tools. I've got a multi-tool, but you know, 1 is none, 2 is 1, so I've got 2 multi-tools, 1 on a battle belt, and then I've got a Gerber just chucked in my rucksack. You know, so it's just that really. It's bandages. It's you know, anyway, like a first aid kit. Chances are I probably won't use it, but you never know. But then you have to have all sorts in your first aid kit just in case.
Yeah.
I've got like my tablets for my epilepsy. I've got Nurofen just in case I have a crash from not enough hydration or anything like that. Hay fever tablets. I've got. Do you know what I mean? And it's just all of that. And I'm not the sort of guy that can put all that into compartments in my head. I have to write it down because I know I'll just forget. I'll get there and it'll be like, shit, I haven't got my batteries. And that's another section, sundries. You know, gas, batteries, BBs, this, that, the other cables. Like this bag here, this is just all my charging cables, spare batteries. I've got a spare head torch in there. My GoPro's in there. So that's all, everything's just stuffed in one little bag. And then that will go in. But I think my Warrior bags, it's got a lot of stuff stacked in there already. I think I'm probably going to potentially have to do 2 trips. Out there with the rucksack, and then I've got the Pegasus bag as well. Which what I might do is put all the rest of one kit in the big bag, and then in the Pegasus bag, which is the smaller one, stick my night vision, stick my thermal, and other bits and pieces in that. So it's like almost your night kit versus the rest. But I always overpack. I never use half of it.
Man after my own heart.
I know, which is all right if you've got to hump your ass up the hill. Do you know what I mean? Or wherever it is you got to go. So
so if you got like 2 like outfits or anything like that, because I know some Op4 type roles, they kind of have like I'm just using Octo 8 as the example. So they have like a traditional wear, and then I'm back. No. They went into more like a rebel kind of loadout, so we're wearing like Woodland DPM a later date. So I mean, are you literally just wearing that?
I have solid colours underneath. So on the actual day, unless it gets absolutely soaked through, and it's waterproof to a point anyway, I've got my claw gear trousers in like a rail, which is like a greeny, grey browny colour, and then I've got the claw gear top that will go, which is like U-backs really, that will just go underneath this black man dress thing. I'll have that on, and then I've got like my recon plate carrier over the top, and that's kind of it really. I'll have the hat, and then if for whatever reason that outfit gets totally sidewinded in the car, I'll have spare thermal socks, spare boxers, spare trousers, spare t-shirt, because I could put it in my bag and ump it up the hill, but there's no point because the chances are I'm not going to get out of what I'm wearing, short of what should we call the closest of primary gear, right the way underneath. That'll be changed, but the rest of it, the chances are the trousers and that and the top are going to just last out for the couple of days that we're there. So unless anything mental happens that I end up ripping something in half, which I hope I don't because it cost a fortune.
Or it pees it down, I guess. I mean, that's the other one.
Yeah, exactly that, but even then, you know, it's as long as if I get into my tent and I get my head down and I'm dry, you know, I'll just leave them out and dry them by fire, or you know, if they get wet, they get wet. The way I look at things is, you know, if those claw gear trousers that I'm wearing is my primary and everything else gets absolutely soaked through, there's not much point in me going and getting changed into my other outfit if that's going to get soaked through as well.
Yeah,
I might as well keep the wet one on. But yeah, so I don't really. I'm more sort of like, have I got enough food? Have I got enough water? Have I got enough BBs? Have I got enough in a first aid kit that I'm not going to use? Have I got, you know, in this bag? Honestly, I swear to God, I've probably got 6 cables that charge the same device. Do you know what I mean? Just in case I lose one.
Yeah.
Or I've got 3 power banks. You know, so it's probably enough to recharge the battery on the Jeep just from power banks in here.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I've got like the GoPro, cable for the GoPro. I've got some spare batteries, and then in the car I'll leave a box that's got, you know, a full pack of batteries and all that sort of stuff. And the goal is that, or the aim, I just don't go back to the car. You know, the car is as the car is.
It's just a backup, isn't it? Yeah, it's just
exactly that. If I really run out of water, or I really run out of whatever, I can go back and get it. But I don't want to, because it's piss poor preparation then if I have to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But it's been a while, you know. It's been what, 2 years since we've MilSimmed. So, and even then, I was no veteran of MilSims. I've only done a few. So I'm still learning. You know, I'm still learning what I can get away with. I'm still learning what I really, really need to take. And luckily, we do it at events where we have that flexibility to either take 2 tons of gear and park up outside your house and dump it out, or, you know, are able to walk back to where your gear is, you know, and top up if you need to. So it's just the packing bit as well. You know, I'm not smart on when it comes to packing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, putting stuff.
Well, there's that video that Lance put up during the week, where he's just so organised because he's got like everything, and he's just like, and it goes into the tiniest of bags. I'm like, oh, how does he do that?
Yeah. No, honestly, I don't know. Honestly, don't know how he does it. And so for mine, I'm quite lucky on mine. So the Bergen, I think you load top down. The Warrior X300, you can load top down, but the front totally unzips as well. So you can lay it down almost like a holder and unzip the front. So you can get away with stuff in your sleeping bag right at the bottom, even if you get your tent out, and you can do that, and then the rest of it's just all in there. So you haven't got to worry about, you know, what bit you kind of need to get to first, because it all opens up into one big bag anyway. Mine's more about, you know, do I put the food over, you know, each side, you know, 24 hours on the left-hand side, 24 hours on the right, so it balances out in weight. Where do I put my night vision? Where do I put my thermal? That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Andy says, does your sleeping kit change depending on what faction you're portraying, or do you just choose what is comfy and going to keep you warm?
So I'm for this one, I'm taking a tent and a sleeping bag. The only reason that I'm kind of going with the tent and the sleeping bag is because I've not tested the hammock and the tarp. So if we'd have had time to get up to the woods with Lance and yourself, or, you know, whatever it might have been, put the hammock up, tested it for my weight, because even though it's rated for twice my size, there's that little bit in the back of my head that's going to be, I'll be the unlucky bastard that goes straight through the middle of it and I've got nothing to sleep on for the weekend. You know, then I'd be underneath a basher and on the hammock, which is even, you know, it'd have been even better because there's less kit to carry. But, you know, I don't tend to feel the cold. So really, I could probably get away with not taking the sleeping bag. But, you know, I bought one, so I might as well take it.
Yeah.
But I did try and get one of those jungle blankets as well, which Snugpack were out of stock on those, but that'd do me. You know, small airbed and or, you know, a Z mat or whatever, and that jungle blanket. That's it.
I think they've got one on Amazon, by the way. If I can always ping you a link if you're still after one.
Yeah, if you can do, mate. I got it and I put it in the basket, and then when they sent it through, it wasn't there, and they said, "Oh, we didn't have any. It was out of stock in the end." All right, cheers for
that's
that.
helpful.
Yeah, it's really fun. Thank you very much. But yeah, I must admit, I am a sucker for having my feet covered though with something, just in case spiders or anything like that. You know, not that I'd know about it, but it's just that thought of someone grabbing your feet or anything. You know, I'm the same at home. If I'm under my bed, it could be 90 odd degrees. I've still got to have something over my toes just in case.
Yeah.
The boogeyman that doesn't exist grabs me.
Andy says you don't have your Taliban blanket then.
No, I've got that on my horses. They're keeping them warm.
Yeah, Nick says get a whoopee. I mean, I always take a whoopee, and I'm a massive advocate of the whoopee, or the jungle blanket, or whatever you want to call it. That just having that sort of blanket type thing.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think as well. I've been to Longmoor on the last event, and everybody, as in say there was 100 people there, 95 people stayed inside because it was minus Christ knows what. And then my lot was like, no, we want to stay in the houses. So we stayed in the houses for the first night. And that was proper fucking cold. Really was. When you kind of wake up in the morning and it's like, any follicles of hair you've got on your face have got snow on them. So obviously that's when I then got the snug pack sleeping bag. But equally, once I've got a bit of faith, I think we're going to look at getting some time, aren't we, potentially up the woods to discuss the potential non-secretive event coming up.
The super secret that everyone knows.
Yeah, exactly. So then what I'd probably do is, take the small tent, but take the hammock as well, and just put some faith in that and set it up and give it a try. I've heard they're super comfy. I've never used a hammock.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. I'm doing a bit of wild camping with work next week, so literally Thursday night, and I'm planning to take that then because I've never had such a good night's sleep. Just because you're not on the ground, basically.
Yeah.
Like you have to be careful of like chill underneath because there's no sort of thermal insulation and stuff as we've discussed before. But it's good. I do love a hammock.
Good. It's all right. If the weather like this, jobs are good.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I'm carrying a 3-man tent with me.
Yeah.
Whereas I could be. I mean, I've got the 1-man tent, but I'm going to share down with. I think with Richie if he manages to come along. So I'm carrying the tent up there, and you think, really, the hammock's fine, and the hammock's no space at all. That's my entire sleep system would then go in one small rocket on the side. Whereas at the minute, the sleeping bag takes up a portion of the, perhaps like a fifth of the capacity of the X300.
No, fair enough. I was going to ask you about ROEs and stuff as well. So I know for like NATO forces, it generally tends to be you can't shoot unless you get shot at first. Have you got any? I mean, I've never done any OPFOR type stuff at all. Is there any kind of general thing like that for OPFOR roles, or is it literally just like guerrilla warfare constantly?
Depending on where you go, it's not necessarily an ROE. It's more a strong word of advice, I think. So when we did the last one, Apocalypse, we kind of got there, unpacked, set up a tent. Right, let's go. I want so many of you coming over. We know that the Bluefor are out doing a walk. They're going to come to the village. You're going to ambush them at the village. It's going to kick off straight away. And then you just go and do what you like. You can go for a walk around as if you're just a villager, or you can go out and have a dig. Which works. It was all right. And then when we did the Legion event, the first time that I went, and there was a group like Chinese guys that they were all part of like the People's Liberation Army, or had posters up and all sorts.
Yeah.
We got there, and the briefing from Mike was, take it easy, don't stir the hornet's nest, because all you're going to do is make it uncomfortable for yourself. And it's going to be tough because they're going to be straight suspicious of you. They're going to stop you, be challenging you. You're going to have less freedom of movement. They're going to be sending out more patrols, blah, 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 blah. And we're all like, no, absolutely get that. Thinking what we're going to do is we're going to go out, we're going to put some weapons, we're going to light some weapons up in various places. Think of some ambush, this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, this couple of these people from this People's Liberation Army have just lobbed a grenade over the fence and just kicked it off. I forgot. And that was it. It was just like, well, you reap what you sow, basically. And then it was a 36-hour slog. Yeah. You could come out your house without you guys knowing we'd come out of our house. And that's how it was. Whereas, so you don't necessarily have ROEs as such, I think it's just, although you're there to stir it up and be that sort of terroristy stroke, opposition or whatever it is that you're playing, you just need to think smart about it. So what you're trying to achieve is playing the quiet game at the beginning better for you, because it means that you can have stronger engagements that you're more likely to win later on, because you've scoped out the routes that Bluefor walk, you've scoped out areas that you can leave weapons, which mean you can move freely to certain places, whereas after that was it. We were just bollocks. I think in the end you had to get a license to carry a gun or something. You had to go
you had to go to the police station.
Yeah.
I know some of the so again, having only played Bluefor generally, with some sort of PMC type stuff, it's a lot more engaging when you've got that level of like communication and stuff. So you're not, it's less about, oh god, right, they're going to start shooting us any second, right, we've all got to be in the proper defensive positions and everything like that. It's more like, you can have a bit of a chat with whoever they are. They can put like a silly accent and you can talk to them about, the price of pigs that day is suddenly risen for no
reason.
Basically just, it's just that kind of fun little bit of playing about with it, I guess.
Now really try and drive a relaxed, not friendship, because that the event's not going to drive it to be a friendship, but what you want to be able to do is get up.
That'd be the worst MilSim ever if it's literally no one fires a shot for the entire weekend.
Might have a cup of tea. Yeah, but you want that kind of, being able to walk up past the stockade without being jumped on by 20 people and rubber gloves searched. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want that interaction where you're out on patrol and people are just almost like a mist or a fog just drifting past you.
Just proper milling about.
Am I all right here? Am I gonna, what's going to happen? Am I cool? And then, next thing you know, someone walks past and they've got like a vest on or something like that, and it's like crack bang, because you've kind of built that level of, I'm not sure, we can't engage. He's not showing any. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll be really nice and we'll send a box of fruit to Bluefor. But inside the oranges, we put explosives and blew them up.
Yeah, I was there for that.
But you know what I mean? And that's kind of it. Our gift to you. Don't insult us by not accepting this gift, because to us, if I offer you a gift of 2 goats and a camel, if you say no to that, then you've insulted my family and my tribe. And
it was a little bit of an insult when it then blew up.
But the thing is, things do blow up. I'm sure ghosts have combusted somewhere. Shit does go bang. But that's it. And then once you've done that, you're kind of like, you're building up to it. We're building up to it. It's almost like that sort of, you sort of relationship when you're younger, isn't it? You kind of like meet each other and you kind of build it up and build it up and build it up. And all of a sudden it's like, and that's kind of how we are on there. We know each other. So, I just walked around, saw Lance was standing outside the stockade. Hello, mate. You all right? How you doing? Yeah, I'm just walking around. I can't find my goats. I can't find this. Someone's taken 6 of my sheep, blah, 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 blah. And I was just standing there generally talking to him, and he just looked at me afterwards and went, look, Paul, my lot are going to be back in a minute, mate. You better fuck off. Because they'll be all over you. Later. But if you see my goats and sheep, could you send them back? And it's kind of, that was, and that's it. It's, it's that fun aspect of it. You don't want to, there's a time and a place for just going 0 to 60. It's not a lot of time, and that build up and that just general setting the scene of the event. But it's key to not have it swing too much. So equally, you don't want it to kick off too early. You don't equally then want it to drag out too much. That you kind of, are we still walking around? Why are we not? We're here to shoot people. We're here to get, down in the dirt and all that. But there is that balance. And thankfully, as just a mere grunt, I don't have to worry about that balance as much.
Yeah. Just go where you're told to.
Yeah. And that's not me way, mean or form that, trying to cast off that I'm not some sort of valuable target or anything like that at this event. But even generally when I play, someone just says to me, right, Paul, what are we doing? So, just always go over there then, shall we? Yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am.
I know one of the best events I've ever been to was we did a DEA one at Apocalypse, and where it's more like I think we had 4 factions. There were 2 cartel. I've probably told this story before. 2 cartel, 1 police, and there was us as a DEA. And there was a lot of intel gathering. Like our core objective was to try and work out who the hierarchy was.
Yep.
So it wasn't just, constantly shooting everyone and stuff like that. We were actually having to do these sort of missions that required interviewing. We were having to kind of take people back to where we could interview them, talking through stuff and try and work out this freaking mind puzzle because all the players had forgotten who they were and stuff, which didn't help. But I really like those sorts of missions within MilSims and stuff, because whilst it's all good to have shooty all the time, sometimes it's nice to have something a little bit intellectual that you've shooty to get to that. And now I'm there, right? We've got to now do this. Like it's like diffusing bombs and stuff. I'd love to see a proper bomb being diffused. Someone's probably got to follow a little manual, stuff like that, and they're flicking through it and trying to work it out while all the chaos is going on. Because just holding a fort is
quite rightly. I think I've seen a couple of videos, or it might have been just even photographs of a MilSim that they did at Apocalypse before, where you had to go from say A to B, and when you got there, there was like an SF-10 respirator, but the glass bit had been blacked out, and you had to put it on. They spun you around a few times, and then you had to do a puzzle of some sort. I'm sure that was something they did at Apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
But there were certain missions where you couldn't see what you were doing, and they disorientated you, and you had to, I don't know, it might have been like unknot a shitload of knots on a rope or something like that, but you couldn't see what you're doing, and it was that sort of, and then if you did that successfully, then you earned a bit of intel, or you earned whatever. And I think you're right. I think it's that build up to an end goal, isn't it? But then there's two HVTs, but you've got to find out who they are. But you can ask random questions to people. Some people will help you, some people won't. So although they say there's 50 on Opfor, there's 2 HVTs, so that's that you're now down to 48. So out of that 48 that's left, there's only 10 people that will front up any information because they're on the fence informants. And then out of those that are left from the 38, there's 10 that if you approach them will sell you out straight away. And that's the sort of thing. It's kind of, and then you have to try and build that up. And I think it's, I'm like you. It's nice to have something. Not that it's too confusing, But
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting you go and play a game of Monopoly or whatever like that to win the objective or something. But I do think that's kind of missing in a lot of events. Sometimes it's a case of it's very much right. You go and do the patrol. You kind of do all the proper like routine-y type stuff. But it'd be good to have those sort of specialist little things that you have to sit and do. I mean, even with, say, the bomb defusal thing, just have a board that you've got to follow a little procedure, but don't have the procedure like step 1, step 2, step 3. They've literally got to flick through a manual to try and work things out. Yeah.
It's almost like the old, it's kicked back to blimey. I was in secondary school. We did something in English once, and there was this book, and it was like a fantasy type book. And you went through each bit, and then at the end of it, there was a bit of a puzzle. And when you did that bit, it was like go to page whatever or go to page whatever. And you chose which one, and each route would take you into a different outcome. But you'd always kind of end it, but it'd be different by what you did. So you have to go and say, for example, you go and do this activity. If you're successful with the activity, then you step onto this bit. If you're not successful, then your route will take you somewhere else. I mean, it's a lot of commitment in planning to try and get that done. But what an event that'd be if, you've almost got 2 or 3 potential outcomes based on the decisions and behaviours that you make throughout your 36 hours.
Yeah. Nick just says fighting fantasy books.
Yeah, exactly that. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I must admit, the English teacher that we had for it, I bumped into him in the co-op the other day. Didn't recognise me, so obviously didn't make that much of an impression. But yeah. But I mean, my brother used to have like quite thick books, and he used to. It was like go to page whatever, or go to page this. You go to page whatever, and you flick it over, and it's like, oh, you've fallen into a pit of lava. Back you go.
Sean said it was nuts and bolts that you were having to undo.
I remember seeing the video somewhere, and it was quite good, But equally, then for whatever you put in place for Opfor, you need to have that counterpiece, which means Bluefor can sway the other way. You know, so but yeah, it'd be a lot of planning to go into it, but I think it'd be if run right with, you know, zeros that you'd have to be on it, you know, and all that. It'd be a bloody good event.
Yeah. Les says it's all good. It's good to have all the overall play. I think it does make a big difference. It does just make the event. I think it turns it from being a skirmish, because skirmish is basically, right, we're going to turn up, we're going to shoot each other. You've got to take this flag over there, or you've got to go get their flag and bring it here. You know, it's those sorts of roles, really.
Is Les talking about Airsoft or just generally?
Yeah, I see.
I'm with you on both, mate.
Yeah. Moving on, Roy says the balance goes out the window when you play COD. It does. I mean, I think it was the Operation Scimitar with Octo 8. Between the sort of, we had that big first lockdown, and then there was a brief period where there was sort of stuff that could happen, and then there was another lockdown. Sorry, Les has just literally put yeah. So between the two lockdowns, the Octo 8, it was like, you know, they were quite conscious of going, look, people are going to be a little bit trigger happy, sorry. So don't just jump into just shooting each other. Literally, like the first hour, it was like, yeah, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, so exactly that. But it's interesting about Call of Duty. I used to always be a bit just to run around, you know, accepted that I was crap at the game. Never really did, you know, whatever. Just, rolled over and accepted it. Started playing Airsoft, and then when I started playing Call of Duty, I found I was going around corners with the gun raised down the sights. Like I was probably taking angles in the room, thinking, what have I been? And then realised it made no difference. And now we just run around. But this whole thing about camaraderie, you know, and you sort of, you're doing things together, and you this, that, and the other. No way, Call of Duty. When me, Roy, and a very good friend of ours from Sweden, we go on Call of Duty 3 days a week. And when we're on there, it's like, I'm down. I need I'm in Plunder Warzone. I need some help. And you're like, you're on your own, mate. I'm over in this building, 20 buildings away. There's no way I'm running my ass back to save you. I've got £500,000. I'm going to drop all this money. Nah, mate. You know, we're not in it for the money, and we just want to shoot people.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no real brotherhood when it comes to us three on Call of Duty. You're on your own unless you want to.
I was changing the topic slightly. I was playing a bit of my brother's Oculus Rift last night, and there's a game on that's like a proper sort of shoot 'em up type thing. But you've got like the rifle on the front of you, your handgun down there, and you're having to, because you've got the handset and then the handset and the headset. So you're looking around, you can see the grenades strapped to you and stuff. That was really surreal, and especially you're crouching. So I crouched behind a window and popped up and shot someone. That was quite cool. I did enjoy that.
The first time I played, so we used to do like Battlefields and all that sort of stuff. Then I had a game, I can't remember what it was on. Might have been a PlayStation of some sort or whatever. Operation Flashpoint, and that was like the first time I ever played a massive world, as supposedly close to sort of military simulation type. Gaming and that was awesome. There's some great stuff out there. I think back at some of the games, you think, and then you now look at the technology now that we're actually using that technology that you're talking about to sort of train people, or you've got people sat in a porter cabin in Nevada flying drones over Afghanistan. I mean, it's just mind blowing, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. The only thing I would say with the Oculus Rift is it made me horrifically sick. So I got real motion. Driving home from that, I was like, at one point was like, my eyes hurt. I can't really see. I had to pull over and I just threw up. So that was fun.
Sounds like the end to a good evening. That does.
Nick says MilSim role playing can be quite a challenge. So do you get into like a proper character with yours? Because I know that it can be a bit hard for people to kind of just rock up, and then it's, unless you really commit to it, it can sometimes be a bit half-hearted, can't it? It's like, you're right, yeah, I don't have any intel. Have you seen my sheep type thing?
Yeah, so I don't mind wearing the gear because everyone's wearing the gear. The bit that I have is this little bit in my there's certain bits in my head that say things to me, and you go, yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that, Paul. Don't dance. I've got that voice in my head. Whatever you do, don't dance, because you can't dance. You look a bellend when you dance, so don't do it. Don't sing in public because you can't sing. just don't do it. And it's the same as when I'm on MilSim, so I wear the outfits and I'll get involved like that. I can't put the accent on. I struggle.
No.
I really do, because there's that part of me that's going, you sound like a knob, but not only that, you've got no idea what the accent's like. You actually sound like a French, Italian, Spanish, whatever, It's just a mixture of all languages that you're throwing in there. It's like, I'm not even going to do it now, because this could come.
No. So, forgetting the accent though, do you find that you still have, because obviously you go to these events regularly, you do start to make friends with people on the other factions and stuff. Do you just have a chinwag with them, or do you sort of try and stay in character per se?
I really do try and keep it for what it is, and have the time where there is a bit of a chat if you get the moment to have the chat. But it's remembering what we're there for. I'm very conscious of what other people want out of an event. So I don't necessarily want to go and talk to someone, have a chat with someone when for all I know, that could be absolutely against what they want from it at the time. And we could have, the best of chats in the safe zone or whatever it is at whatever point. But, I think we kind of need to remember that we're there for a purpose, and I have to take away from that, because otherwise what you end up getting is we've got some new guys coming to this one that have never been there before. And if they see me just randomly walk up and start chatting Novo stuff with Lance, or, go chatting to someone else, it's not sending that right message across to them either, and they want to get stuck in, and they're like, oh, come on, what's he over there talking to him again for? And so it is in my mind, that part of it. But I do struggle sometimes with the role playing from that aspect of it. But yeah, I think when we're there, I try and zone in a little bit, just so it's, everyone's sort of wants are taken into account. I remember I did a Longmore one. It might have been the last one, when they said at the beginning, whatever you do, don't walk in front of the Sergeant Major's house. You're not allowed to walk in front of it this time, whoever it is. And I walked in front of it to go and talk to, you guys might have been out on patrol, and I'm sure it might have been Kettles or someone like that come up to me, and because I'd walked across that bit, and he was like, he was proper in the role. He's like, step back. And I'm like, what, mate? I come over to say hello. You know what I mean? But he was in it, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's what people are there. They pay the money, That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
So, no.
I think it's easier. I think it's easier as NATO though, because it's more like, you're just telling people. It's almost like just commands. Like you're not there to kind of like portray a character per se. It's like, just stand over there, step back, put your hands on your head or whatever like that. So I can see it.
When you look at the likes of Nick Landay, who goes to the Legion ones, that geezer, I mean, 6 foot, Christ knows, 6 foot a lot. Let's just say that he gets proper into character, and he's towering over Bluefor, and he's like this, and you think, yeah, mate, you're in it. But I mean, I will try and sort of drive that. But that whole, that bit where you're running up to people and all that. So, I need your help. I need your help. I need your help. I need this. I need that. I need this. And we'll try and do that sneaky Pete bit of it all. And I think it's good because there's a lot of different people at this one that have not been there before. So it'll be quite good to get involved. And I think we have got that, duty of care as regulars at that site, and people involved with the organisation to a degree to sort of spread that sort of way that we do things, so everyone gets that bit.
I've always I've been toying with the idea of for an event. The like the translator cards that people have, where it's got like just loads of pictures of things like that. I was thinking that you could almost have it that Opfor and Bluefor just can't talk to each other, because that way you don't have to mess back. That way you don't have to play around with accents and stuff like that. Like it literally all the communication and part of the fun of that one could be you're having to try and communicate things via these stupid communication cards. I thought that could be quite interesting.
The other bit that I always find a bit that does ring, and as strange as it sounds, but it does ring in the back of my mind, is that we go on these events and I'll be wearing a GoPro for a bit. And it that gets posted up in places, and there's always that bit in the background going to potentially offend somebody, by putting on that accent, and so it is kind of there. And I think as the time goes by, diversity and that sort of stuff is just growing massive now. So you kind of become more aware of it. So I'm a little bit like, it's easy in my mind, but then equally, going up there and talking in my South London accent that I've got when I'm sort of trying to be a tally sort of, an Afghan villager or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know what an Afghan speaking villager sounds like. To be fair, it's just I wouldn't know. I don't want to go down to Team America and just sort of dirk on my entire.
But then maybe, well, that's the thing, because that's where it starts to potentially go offensive, isn't it? But maybe, I say, with the translation card type thing, that might be a good way for players that don't want to do that to kind of go, well, I don't have to say anything, just stay quiet.
Yeah, or just go out there and sort of just literally one word it. So you're going up to them like, what sheep? Sheep, sheep, or food, or trouble. Like you really, you've got these little keywords that you kind of just learn. Yeah, Afghan Hellboy. Yeah, you want to buy a watch? I'll have enough torches and all that in my bag, mate. I'll be able to run a shop again. But yeah, so that I can do. I'm quite happy to go out to people and sort of go, help. And when they go, what? Just go, no, help. It's almost like you're using.
Well, that makes it harder as well for the Bluefor, because they have to make that decision process of, well, we're not got a lot of information here, so do we go and help and sort of. Or, I mean, the other thing you could have is interpreters as well. So you could have like one person that's like a designated, like you can talk to that person in English or whatever like that, and you just have a conversation, and that person can then feed that information back to Bluefor. That would work quite well.
Or kind of run up and just sort of go, as if to go, danger, sort of, stop, just use hand gestures, that sort of stuff. More than happy with that. But there is that bit in my mind, and that might be the position that I have at work and all that sort of stuff that just kind of rings in my head that I have to be a little bit careful, even though it's nothing like that. But there is that piece around, we're in a world that's bigger than what might have been now.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Right, let's just have a couple more comments. Andy says, I played dead and wounded at the last one and got asked to stop as it was too hammy. I mean, screaming, shouting, crying, not just putting up my hands. The organisers didn't approve.
That works for me.
We at the Octo one went full Shakespeare at one point because we were like, but Octo had asked us, because one of their sort of key things is they're trying to boost the realism, and we've made a joke with Josh previously saying, could we go full Shakespeare? And we were like, alas, I am slain.
That bullet dust my arm.
Yeah.
What is
the bloodeth does flow from one's plate carrier.
But no, I like that. I mean, I think that's great. If people want to roll around on the floor and act it out, then fantastic, mate. You go for it. This is it. At the end of the day, as long as it's within the rules of what's set in the general stuff that gets sent out, you've paid your 70 quid, 80 quid, 90 quid, 100 quid. Do what you like. Do you know what I mean? If it has to the effects, if someone's screaming and while they're laying around screaming on the floor, Bluefor have got to try and figure out what's done that to them amongst the carnage that's being screamed around. Brilliant,
Yeah.
So I'm all for that.
Octo again. I don't want to sound like I'm singing their praises too much, but the last Octo event, we went in and sort of had an IED type attack on the Bluefor base, and everyone, because one of their things was like that if you're going to die but there's still action happening, just lay there dead, because it kind of creates that immersion for everyone else, because having to fight among dead bodies and stuff like that was, it definitely changes the game. It's not just like I'm running around the woods anymore. You're like trying to pick your way amongst people and stuff. It definitely changes it.
One thing that always, and I had a proper issue with this the first time that I played at the Apocalypse MilSim there, was and I kind of not got into a debate with somebody, but it was just like, you have one of those really moments. I thought I was doing you a favour. These bang kills. Now, to me, they stuck their head through a window in one of the villages, and I was there with my sidearm, and it literally would have been like, where's my camera? That shot in the side of the head, and I banged him, and he looked at me and he went, "Bang kill, really?" Like that, and I'm like, well, what would you rather? Would you rather me shoot you in the face from sort of 6 inches? Yeah, I kind of struggle with that, because morally, it's not the sort of thing that I'd want to do.
Yeah.
But then what do? Do I take myself out of the game because like he'd gone, well, yeah, you're dead then, or whatever. But it just doesn't. And that's the bit I never kind of get. Is it, is it acceptable to bang kill in an event rather than, and it almost needs to be that agreement, doesn't it? Is it acceptable? And is it likely to rub people up the wrong way because they want that immersion of, being shot in the testicles from 2 inches away or whatever because I'm hiding in a bush? But yeah, I don't know. So
I would agree. I would agree with you on that one. If you're going to potentially shoot someone directly in the face, because obviously a lot of people don't wear face pro or anything like that when they're doing MilSims or whatever. So I would have said that that's fine. I think if you've got the option to shoot like a plate carrier or something like that, then fine, go for it. Because I mean, a lot of the plate carriers and stuff, you're not going to get like generally hurt from it. It depends what people have them filled with and stuff. But yeah.
So,
but maybe the testicles. I would probably treat the testicles the same as the face, to be honest with that. Just because. Yeah.
0.4s on my
Oh yeah, Les just says Mike's like that with a Mark 5. Fuck all happens for 20 seconds. Yes, thanks, Les. Cool, right. People are really rolling with the Shakespeare. Ratty number 13's gone with Blackadder, and he says Shakespeare with assault rifles. Roy said, "I have split that man in twain."
This is the sort of comment that you get on Call of Duty Warzone when we're on those few days a week.
Yeah. I genuinely think we need to have some sort of like Shakespeare event now. I think that'd be brilliant. Maybe at our not so secret event we could have something themed along that. That might be entertaining. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, we'll just let you do it, eh?
Yeah. I'm sure I can find others to go with me. That'll be fine.
I'm sure you can.
So, lastly, the last thing I want to do is congratulate Nick for winning Pride of the Week, or in terms of his blue ribboned entry. So Nick proper went out on this one. He went out and bought a whole load of blue ribbons and then sent us a series of photos. I don't have them, unfortunately, to hand. I'll make sure I've got them for next week. Of trying out different pouches. And he also made it fairly scientific that he said, this one might be more useful for like quick access and stuff, but held less and things. So Nick, you definitely won that one. So I think just a round of applause to Nick for that one, because it was I was genuinely impressed on that one. So yeah, we will have a great time just watching these photos come in. So.
I don't know.
Cool.
Honestly, it's just taken off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ribbons.
Oh, it is a full-on meme. I've started designing up a blue ribboned patch for you.
If you like legacy, what was the legacy of Lance? He's shit broadband. The legacy of you is dressing up and whatever. What's my legacy? A 6-pack of blue ribbons.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, right? If the Blue Ribbon marketing campaign are on their game here, they'd be signing you up straight away as their next spokesman.
I'd take pride in the fact that if my legacy was blue ribbons, I'd be well happy with that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Andy said they ate all of theirs before they got to the pouches.
Trick is, Andy, to eat them out of your pouch. That's role play.
Yeah.
Shades of ribbon.
Oh, cool. Right, we better call it a day. We've gone on a lot longer than normal. But cool. Well, have you got anything else, Paul, you wanted to raise or mention?
No, I think what I'll try and do is say if I'm not on anyway, but I'll try and get the kit laid out and get some photographs. But also while I'm out there, do a little bit of selfie footage and get some photos of the fob and all that sort of stuff as we set up. I'll have my GoPro on, so perhaps get a little bit of footage of some bits and pieces and put that up. But yeah, obviously in the meantime, if anyone's got any questions or if they see anything come up, or as we said, sort of previous weeks, anything that you want sort of specific focus on some of these sessions going forward, just drop them in, and we're more than happy to cover stuff off. So yeah, again, just thanks for everyone and their input, because without you guys, then I would say it'd be just us three, but clearly not. It would just be me and Mike.
Just be me and Paul.
Just talking to no one. So Yeah, keep watching. Thanks very much. And, yeah, have a great weekend, everybody.
Cool. And yeah, as Paul said, if you want to get in touch, you can chat to us. Our email is nofochat@hotmail.com. Instagram is November_Foxtrot_nofo. Facebook is November Foxtrot Nofo, and YouTube is November Foxtrot. So we haven't quite hit that 100 followers yet on YouTube, by the way. If anyone does want to just subscribe to us, that'd be grand, please. Thank you very much. So cool. Right. Well, on that note, hopefully maybe see you next week. Well, I will see you next week, Paul, but in terms of the episode, hopefully see you next week. I'll be at the MilSim. I'm there as press.
Yeah, but are you what for the? Are you there for just? Are you on the Friday? You up or just the Saturday? Or
so the Friday I'll be there as press, and then the Saturday I've been given a secret tasking by Lance that I'm not allowed to talk about.
All right, you can tell me in the WhatsApp chat.
Yeah, that's fine. It involves dressing up though.
Hey, win-win.
Cool. And if anyone in the chat's coming, then by all means come and say hello to any of us at the APOC MilSim as well. It'd be cool to say hello. So
100%.
Cool.
We'll be good.
Nice one.
Thanks again.
Yeah. Well, I hope everyone enjoys the nice weather. It's been raining here, but until next week, we'll see you all later. Bye.